Hi, I'm Dave Lyons, Executive Director of the Fairfax Workers Coalition, and welcome to our video regarding collective bargaining. For 2.5 years since this ordinance was passed by the Board of Supervisors, there has been no comprehensive training for the great mass of county employees, only some limited managerial training. There's been no real accurate information about the ordinance out there. And yet here we are on the cusp of possibly achieving it, and the average employee doesn't fully understand it. So what we'd like to do today is provide you with direct information from the ordinance, from exactly what the law says, what it means, what the timetables are involved, what it means when you sign something, what it means if you don't, and how collective bargaining can work for you. I would like to say and emphasize very strongly, the FWC from the beginning has completely supported collective bargaining. For 47 years, we've lived without it, from the day I came to work until this year. And it is a good thing, and it can help us all. But it's important that we understand collective bargaining ordinance. It's important that it be done right. And it's most important that it benefits every county employee so they can obtain the rights and privileges they deserve. Thank you.
Hello, this is Carol Taylor, Secretary-Treasurer of the Fairfax Workers Coalition. Welcome to this video on collective bargaining. We will discuss the ordinance, its history, and what it means to general county employees. We are the Fairfax Workers Coalition, an independent labor union founded in 2017 by county employees. FWC is a recognized labor union whose focus is solely on the issues that impact employees. We do not answer to any corporate union, but rather to our members. We don't give member money to politicians because we feel that we should not have to pay them for them to listen to us. Our beliefs are based on truth, trust, transparency, and teamwork. We are doing real union work, and we are not just a campaign. Because we feel employees deserve the truth, we're going to give you the straight facts on collective bargaining based on the current ordinance. To understand collective bargaining, we must first talk about what it means, who it affects, and its purpose and meaning for general county employees. In 2021, the county passed a collective bargaining ordinance which will impact the vast majority of general county employees. The purpose of the ordinance is to establish a framework for collective bargaining, ensuring a fair and democratic process for Fairfax County employees to negotiate wages, benefits, hours, and working conditions. It emphasizes the county's commitment to maintaining a harmonious and cooperative relationship between the county and its employees. It legally recognizes the right of employees to organize and bargain as a unit through representatives of their own choosing to promote the public's welfare and efficient administration. FWC has reservations about the contents of the ordinance as it is written, but we fully support fair collective bargaining. We will discuss our concerns at the end of this section. In Section 3-10-2 of the ordinance, collective bargaining is defined as the mutual obligation of Fairfax County and the exclusive bargaining representative to negotiate employment terms, including wages, benefits, personnel policies and practices, and working conditions in good faith. Any financial obligations negotiated on behalf of the county are subject to appropriation of funds by the County Board of Supervisors. Benefits include all forms of non-wage compensation provided to employees, including health insurance. The county has recognized 3 collective bargaining units: police, fire and rescue, and general county employees. Police and fire and rescue already have their collective bargaining agreements in place. We will be discussing collective bargaining as it relates to general county employees. The General County Employee Bargaining Unit consists of all employees at the S32 and L7 levels and below, with a few exceptions. These exceptions are seasonal or temporary employees, volunteers, contractors, and interns, a new employee within the first 60 days of their start date with the county, an employee who is a member of a board, commission, or other appointee as designated, an employee of the courts, or any local constitutional officer as defined under the Virginia Constitution. Managerial employees are defined as any employee involved directly in the determination of labor relations or personnel policy at an executive level. Supervisors defined in the ordinance specifically are personnel who devote a majority of their time supervising 2 or more employees with the responsibility of hiring, firing, transferring, or disciplining. It is important to note that the vast majority of supervisors in the county will be in the bargaining unit. The term supervisor, as it is used here, are those who are at the executive level, or those specifically defined as confidential employees or other special exceptions. These individuals are specifically designated by the Department of Human Resources. Confidential employees will be exempt from the collective bargaining process. These few individuals are upper-level employees who handle confidential labor relations matters for individuals formulating labor policies. Most confidential employees are individuals who work in human resources. Confidential employees are determined by the County Department of Human Resources. It is important to understand that this ordinance will include limited term or benefits eligible employees, as well as most supervisors and managers. Just because an employee is a manager or supervisor in itself does not exclude the individual from being directly affected by collective bargaining. If you have been receiving emails from the Fairfax Workers Coalition, or you're receiving this presentation, you have been identified by the county as being in the bargaining unit. An employee organization is one in which employees participate with the purpose of representing employees in collective bargaining with regard to terms and conditions of employment. A collective bargaining agreement is a written legal contract between the county and an exclusive bargaining agent who represents the county employees within the bargaining unit. The exclusive bargaining agent shall be the only representative of all employees within the bargaining unit. The bargaining representative or agent consists of an employee organization, a union, which is selected by the majority of the employees voting in an election. This does not mean that the majority of those in the bargaining unit must vote. In reality, there could be upwards of 10,000 employees in the bargaining unit, and if only 300 people vote, whichever union receives 151 or more votes will be the only entity allowed to bargain for all employees in the unit. Under Section 3-10-3, employees have rights under the collective bargaining ordinance. These rights include the right to organize, form, join, assist, and participate in employee organizations of their choosing for the purpose of collective bargaining. Employees have the right to hold informal conversations and interactions with one another to discuss workplace and employee organization issues while on duty, provided that such conversations do not interfere with the employee's job duties. Employee organizations will not hold formal meetings that interfere with the work time of employees, except as provided for by the ordinance or in a collective bargaining agreement. Employees have the right to use county electronic communication systems to discuss employee organization business or activities, or employee organizing activities. Employees representing an exclusive bargaining agent or when representing other county employees and grievances are authorized to use county time within reason. The ordinance prohibits any form of intimidation or coercion of employees who opt to exercise their rights. This is to ensure a respectful and fear-free environment for all employees considering their options regarding collective bargaining. As employees, it is your responsibility to educate yourselves as to what you are asked to sign. If you feel you've signed something in error, you have the right to rescind your signature. Section 3-10-4 provides for the county's rights and authority, including management and operational control. These include determining the type and scope of work performed by employees, directing employees' work and establishing standards of behavior, job qualifications, and job descriptions, deciding on the expansion, reduction, or alteration of county operations and services. This includes establishing new programs, creating new positions, or eliminating or altering existing programs and jobs. While the county has the right to create or eliminate positions, certain aspects, including layoffs, contracting services, and changes affecting employees' job status, are negotiable. This emphasizes a collaborative approach to labor relations. Section 3-10-11 states that the union that is elected by the majority of those voting in election will speak on behalf of all individuals in the bargaining unit. They will meet with employees on work-related matters. They will engage in good faith efforts to collectively bargain for wages, benefits, and working conditions. The bargaining agent will be the only source of representation available to employees in work-related matters, including employee grievances. As stated earlier, Fairfax Workers Coalition supports collective bargaining. However, we feel that the ordinance falls short of a process which ensures true and fair collective bargaining because the bargaining unit is too large. Nearly all collective bargaining agreements across the country and in the state of Virginia break units up into groups of employees with similar needs. We feel there should be a minimum of 3 separate units, including one representing trades workers, another for administrative workers, which includes the majority of those in paraprofessional and professional jobs, and one for management. We would also like to see an additional unit for benefits eligible employees, since these individuals are not guaranteed the same rights as merit employees. We feel that representing both line staff and upper level management in labor disputes is not necessarily fair or effective. The sheer size of the bargaining unit, which could easily be over 10,000 employees, puts those employees at the lower pay grades at a serious disadvantage. So now that we have a basic understanding of collective bargaining, how do we get there? According to sections 3-10-8 and 3-10-9, a labor union can file for an election at any time, but they can only bargain from July 1st to October 15th for the following fiscal year. As stated before, the bargaining agent will be the only representation available for all employees in the bargaining unit for all work-related matters, including disciplinary action. Employees will not be permitted to hire their own attorney for representation, whether or not they elect to be a dues-paying member of the bargaining union. The bargaining agent must be chosen by an election. In order for a union to be included on an election ballot, there must be administratively acceptable evidence to support a petition for recognition or certification of election. These forms of evidence typically include petitions, intent cards, or union membership applications completed by employees. Employees should complete an intent card indicating that they wish to see choices on the ballot by selecting the union they would most likely support. As the ordinance stands, 30% of the employees in the bargaining unit would need to complete an intent card or be a union member if that organization is to appear on an election ballot. Any other union wishing to be on the ballot must then submit an intervention which would require new and different signatures totaling 30% within a limited period of time. Once the union or unions are determined to have met the criteria for administratively acceptable evidence, an election by secret ballot will take place. The ballot will include the union or unions who have met the criteria, as well as an option for no representation. This means that employees have exercised their right to vote against union representation and collective bargaining. Should employees elect no representation, the process for collective bargaining can resume in 1 year. Remember that the ordinance does not require that the majority of those in the bargaining unit vote, but rather the election is determined by the majority of votes received. A small minority of people who do vote will affect the entire bargaining unit. The Labor Relations Administrator, or the LRA, has been appointed by the county executive to administer the terms of the ordinance. This includes conducting elections to determine the exclusive bargaining agent, to establish and carry out mediation, arbitration, and manage the grievance process when there's a conflict or disputes between employee to employee or employee to management. FWC wholeheartedly supports a fair election process. However, we see the following problems with the ordinance as it pertains to the election process. Administratively acceptable evidence is not clearly defined in the ordinance, but rather it's left up to the discretion of one individual, the LRA. Obtaining signatures of intent from 30% in the bargaining unit is extremely difficult, especially since the vast majority of those in the bargaining unit do not understand the process. Also, if an individual signs more than one intent card or petition for 2 different unions, how is that counted? The ordinance does not state that the majority of the bargaining unit must vote, but rather the bargaining agent is determined by the majority of votes submitted. This means that even if less than 10% of those in the bargaining unit vote, the entire bargaining unit will be represented by the majority of the votes submitted. So now you may be asking yourselves, what can I do? Since the collective bargaining will affect you directly as an employee of the bargaining unit, FWC would like to urge you to educate yourselves on the collective bargaining ordinance and process. The ordinance is on the county website as well as on our FWC website. We would love to have you join FWC. Membership is $10 per pay period, and we offer our members options for additional insurance, discount purchasing programs, and individual representation in work-related matters, including grievances, FML, workers' comp, just to name a few. For individuals who do not wish to become members, we ask that you sign an intent card, which simply shows that you support FWC as an option on an election ballot for collective bargaining. Completing an intent card does not obligate you to become a union member. Membership applications and intent cards can be emailed to you directly, or you can complete one on our website. Our email address is fairfaxworkerscoalition@outlook.com. And the link to our forms is on our website at www.thefairfaxunion.org/membership/forms. A link to the collective bargaining ordinance is also available on our website. This concludes our presentation. If you have any questions or would like to meet with us or even invite us to a group meeting at your site, please drop us an email or call us directly. You can contact Dave Lyons, our Executive Director, at 571-991-5386, or me, Carol Taylor, Secretary Treasurer, at 703-401-3131. In the future, we will be providing another video on what happens once collective bargaining is in place. In the meantime, the Fairfax Workers Coalition wants to thank each and every county employee out there for your dedication and service to the citizens of Fairfax County. Should you need our help or services, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you guys and stay safe.